Good morning to all. Welcome to this November month quality celebrations, which is this webinar is the sixth webinar successfully we are conducting. And today's topic is bioeconomy, that is building sustainable bioeconomy, a need for manufacturing and service quality standard certifications are on par with the global standards. So today we have a very learned and very knowledgeable panelists among us and speakers amongst us. And I'm very happy to invite them on behalf of all of you. And I welcome all of you for this webinar on behalf of CCC and also our All India parent body. And a special warm welcome to our President, ma'am, Ramaji, and also all our dignified guests who are present here. And before going into the session, I thought I'll briefly introduce the speakers to the audience who are gathered here. And let me open up the presentation. Please hold on. So let me introduce myself. I'm Ram Kumar. I'm running my own consultancy, Pragya Consultancy, and I'm a managing partner in that. And also the vice president of CCC and one of the founder member of CCC. I'm very happy to say that part of the team. And basically, I'm a sustainability expert and also a consultant, a trainer, and also an auditor in some of the sustainable standards, and a qualified lead auditor in few ISO standards, and also trainer in management systems, and NABL certification consultant, and also doing soft quality skills training also, and assessor in CAA Exim Bank Business Excellence Model. And of course, to add a feather to my cap, I've been training the farming community in natural farming. And also, I started my career as a plant tissue culture scientist, as a biotechnologist in my earlier days. Now I'm into this consultancy domain, where we were producing tissue culture plants of sugarcane, banana, ornamental and medicinal plants. And today's speaker, let me introduce my friend, Mr. Bobby Matthew, who is the Asia and Southeast Asia head of SCS Global Certification Services. And he's a good friend of mine, and I've been associated with him for the past 5 years. And actually, he is basically a Biotech in petrochemical technology from Bharatdasan University of Trichy. And he has been into this energy, bioenergy and energy related industry and he's having 16 plus years of experience in consulting and advisory services for the not only in the Indian industry but also in the Middle East and also in the Southeast Asian countries. And he has expertise in developing strategic sustainability roadmaps, which is very important aspect of him for not only Indian companies but also Southeast Asian companies. He is very good at evolving standards, customized standards for industry who are into biofuels and bioenergy or related spaces. And international collaboration, he has worked with organizations like APP, USEPA, and UNIDO on climate works on executing energy efficiency and climate change projects. And also he's an expert in GHG emissions and GHG calculations and also verification and validation. And he has conducted 75 plus energy audits and 25 plus water audits, because water is also a major commodity where it is gaining much importance now, water stewardship and water management and water measurement and everything, so on and so forth. And his key contributions played a significant role in the development of CAI Green Initiative and helped companies like HPCL, JCB India, and Dr. Reddy's Laboratories and Green Company certifications. So today he is here amongst us. I have a hearty welcome to him, Mr. Bobby, for accepting our invitation to be here in this webinar and present your views on the importance of standards and importance of certifications in the area of bioeconomy and also bioenergy and biofuels. So over to you, sir, for your presentation on this topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Ram. Thank you for the lovely words. It's good to meet you all. Good morning. So it's a Saturday morning. It's kind of tough to get on a call, especially to hear about a presentation or a topic which is kind of gaining interest or which is relatively new. So I'll kind of, without further ado, I'll kind of give a brief thanks, Ram, for the wonderful introduction and this and CCC for inviting me over. It's good to meet you all. I handle the certification services of ACS Global in the region. ACS happens to be one of the largest third-party certification bodies globally. So, my perspective is more to kind of give you an insight because biofuels, bioeconomy has been kind of fairly new in the Indian context, though certain industries have been working, a lot of research institutions have been working. But in terms of the requirement is predominantly with respect to the growing markets or the developed markets who are kind of demanding these services. Now, there has been a tandem shift with respect to bioenergy materials, bioenergy products, bioenergy services, because with the advent of the new requirements with respect to climate change, with respect to nature. So I'll kind of be a brief here with respect to what we are kind of looking at. So why bio has become the norm of the town, or you can say sustainability is a new buzzword in the market. Similarly, bio happens to be the new buzzword. Now there are few instances related to that. I'll just share a brief insight on what we have been kind of looking at and what the world has been looking at, and how consultants or as an consortium you would have to kind of look at these market regulations so that it becomes easier for you to adapt into the sphere. So over this, I'll just share a brief presentation. So probably just let me know once we're able to see it. Is it visible to the team, Ram?
Second. Yeah, full screen mode, please.
Yes.
Yeah, this is clear. Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, it's visible. It's visible.
Yeah. So in terms of see something before you understand bioenergy, you need to understand something about the current scenario which we are currently living at. Now, most of you in the consulting domain might know it, but some are fairly new to it. There's two models of science which is there. So, or it's kind of living, you say. One is the linear model and the circular model. So, what we have been kind of doing all together has been you basically take from the nature, you make it, and you dispose it. That's how we have been kind of doing it, which is the linear model. Now, there's a second model which we look at called the circular model. That means you make something, you use it, and after the end of the use, you basically recycle it or repurpose it, or you make it into something which is of a different product, or it can be used back in a different application. Now, these are the two models which are available. Now, we know that we have been following the linear model. It's not only us, the entire globe has been following the model. If you were to kind of look at the linear model, any application with respect to whether it's industry, whether it's people, we basically more than 90% of the world happens to follow the linear model. So the use is that we basically consume the resources and then we generate the waste, and then we go back to the cycle altogether again. Now, because of this, what has happened? So now that's the reason. If you want to kind of understand how bioeconomy is coming into picture, happens to be we will have to kind of take a step back and then probably look into it. Now, with respect to there's something though, is there a need for circularity? Now, two things you need to understand happens to be one is the ecological footprint of the earth, or what you say for nature. Now, this looks at an index or the biocapacity index, which some of you might be aware, some of you might not be aware, with respect to biocapacity creditors. And I'll kind of make it very short. It's basically how much you generate and dispose, and how much is the earth able to replicate back. That means what you put back into the nature, how much time does the earth take for it to give it back or nurture that resource back. Now, if you see the world ecological footprint, we have currently, if you see India, for instance, India is kind of a debtor, wherein the quantum of resources which we consume is not available for us to kind of use. So that's the reason that we would have to look at a circularity model. Circularity model doesn't mean bio alone, but in terms of how do we conserve our resources as a whole. Now, having said this, why circularity comes into picture, or the biocircularity comes into picture? There are multiple. We have been hearing about COP, we have been hearing about climate change, resource scarcity. That's a big thing in the current markets, because availability of resources has become very challenging, because it has become in such a manner that you are kind of deprived of sources. I live in Bangalore, so we have been deprived of water in the last summer season. So we understand how difficult it was in terms of getting a bare minimum requirement with respect to resource. Same thing, biodiversity loss in terms of forest getting deforested. We know a lot of urbanization happening, so a lot of area is getting converted, which kind of creates a biodiversity loss. Land use change activities with respect to climate, as well as with respect to changing climatic conditions, as well as with respect to different crops coming in, with respect to outputs which are there. All these contribute to. And finally, food loss and waste. Now we know the conceptions which each of us have. So if you were to kind of look at how much is the input for a resource which you're buying in, so just to take the tarkari which we buy in from the market, how much has the cost increased on our budgets? That's something which we need to understand. And all these things contribute towards you following a circularity path or the model. Now, looking at this, what is available? Now, the major resource which we kind of look at is what is available. When you say about bio, what are the major bio resources which are available? So you would have to kind of look at applications or measures which are sustainable. Now, the thinking has to kind of change. It can generate from a residue-based feedstock to something from a waste-originated feedstock. That's how the bio comes into picture. It's not biological in origin. It's basically anything which can of an origin which can be replicated and which can be modified and then met on a sustainable model is kind of looked as with respect to the bio part of it. Now, if you're looking at biomaterials, you would be looking at biofuels. How are the markets with respect to it? Now, if you're looking at, I'll kind of classify it into three parts. One happens to be bio-based materials. The second happens to be biomass from agriculture. And third happens to be non-food biomass usage in bioenergy space. Now, these are the three areas where the activities happen. So in terms of how much has been or how much is the potential of growth, if you were to kind of see from various statistics available globally, if you were to kind of look at in the current 2018, 2020, you might see that the numbers are very minimal in terms of this thing, in terms of the requirements. But as you go up the ladder, so if you are looking at a time span of 2030, 25, 2050, so you would have the numbers increasing drastically of two reasons. Now, the world is moving towards sustainability. We are looking at lower carbon indices to kind of come into picture. Our products needs to be our products needs to have a lower bio footprint or an carbon footprint. So all these things contribute towards what is the type of energy. Now, in terms of that, it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that it's kind of getting stagnated to a particular segment. That is wherein the availability is there for each and every individual, each and every industry to kind of work upon it. Now, just take an example with respect to bio in nature happens to be the most easiest happens to be or most prevalent in the market happens to be waste plastics getting converted back into t-shirts. So that wherein you kind of are repurposing the activities such that you basically reduce your footprints. Now, even for buildings, we have been seeing about green buildings using green features for the activities which are there. So all these things contribute. Even you have repurposed um, uh, repurposed products which are there in automobiles which has come in. So all these things contribute towards biomaterials or bio spaces coming into picture. Now, having said that, now why you need a standard? Now, when you come out with a claim that my product happens to be, or my technology happens to be eco-friendly, it happens to be beneficial to the nature, you need to understand that every claim is looked with an with a inspection eye. So that's the reason that once the sustainability claim comes into the market, you need to ensure the product veracity in terms of the service, or on the on the material which is being provided to the end user. The second happens to be market regulations. Now, as we know about regulations, Indian market is still evolving because we have our biofuel policy started only in 2018. So we are slowly getting there because we are a developing nation. But there are certain international countries which kind of have regulations set up, especially EU as well as the North American markets, which kind of have strict norms which are there for purchasing bio-related materials or materials which are environment friendly. The third is new regulations coming in. If you were to kind of the European Union, you have the CBAM, or the carbon border adjustment mechanism. You have EUDR, or the deforestation regulation, which is coming in, which also looks in with respect to why there is a requirement to kind of ensure that the product claims as well as the materials are kind of in compliance with the regulatory norms. The third happens to be customers are going eco-friendly. We have to kind of understand the fact that customers need materials which don't pose an impact to the environment which they are kind of operating in. So that's a requirement. Both we say the Gen Z crowd, the children, the new kids on the block, but even they are kind of environmentally conscious to kind of ensure that these requirements are being met. Then the final thing happens to be big brands. Brands always wants to have their reputation intact in terms of ensuring that what the materials which they buy in, what they consume, doesn't have a reputation and risk which is coming in as part of the claims which you are coming in. Now, that is the reason that standards happens to be as any standard. So it's basically a system you are putting in place to ensure that whatever is the claims you are bringing onto the market is being validated, and it is kind of available for the end user to kind of use it. Now, having said this, now the bioenergy space, there might be very limited number of certifications, but I'll just give you a brief about what are the certifications which are available in the bioenergy space, or which customers or the industry is kind of looking forward. Now, if you were to kind of look at the certifications in the space, one certification which you might already know happens to be the RSPO, or the Roundtable Sustainable Palm Oil Cultivation, which is based on palm oil residues as well as palm oil based derivatives, which are being used in the market. The second happens to be, if you were to kind of look at circular products as well as fuels, ICC and RSB comes into picture, wherein that is the most predominant standards globally and available internationally. India doesn't have a standard currently. We are developing under the biofuel program. So we have around 8 to 9 standards which are coming up. The carbon market in India is coming up fairly in 26. So probably that's wherein we would have more and more standards coming in for the Indian markets. The recycle standard happens to be with respect to recycled materials being used in products, which is the global recycle standard and the recycled content standards. And products which are claiming 100% bio in origin also we are looking at a product carbon footprint or a carbon neutral services with respect to endorsing the products are, as we say, certain terminologies happens to be carbon positive, carbon neutral, or the buzzword, the net zero. So in terms of how the products and services are coming in. So So some of it is already known to you. So I'll just focus my highlight on ISCC and RSP because that gives you an understanding of how the materials are kind of getting played out. Now, it's up to the entire certification happens to be how do you kind of select which is the certification which is relevant for you. Now, it kind of defines it is different because based on the market, based on the requirements of your customer, and certain regulations which you're kind of working on. So let's say suppose you want to kind of market to the EU or sell in the EU market um, or the North American market, you have to be compliant under a certain standard. Now, both these standards predominantly look at supply chain integrity auditing. So starting from, we normally call it as farm to gate, wherein it starts at the origin source all the way till it is being consumed at the end user. Now, in terms of ISCC has three certifications, which is called the ISCC Plus, ISCC EU, and ISCC COSIA. So just to give an insight, Plus happens to be for circularity materials, EU happens to be predominantly for fuels, and COSIA happens to be for aviation fuels, which is predominantly for sustainable aviation fuels, which is kind of being driven by the global airline sector or the aviation sector. RSB happens to be with respect to fuels. URED happens to be with respect to products which are being sold in the EU market, and COSIA similarly for the aviation markets. Now, under these two standards, it's basically all the feedstocks are covered in terms of plus it's basically circularity materials. Global, it's under the EU, it's predominantly waste materials or biomaterials which can be used as fuel. So that's the reason that it comes in from, and all these are voluntary. But if you were to kind of look at sales in these particular geographies, you would have to kind of get these certifications adhered to, especially in the EU as well as the North American markets. Now, COSIA has its own set of feedstocks. You can kind of visit the COSIA website and understand what are the feedstocks which are available in terms of the materials which can be converted into fuel sources for different products. Now, when we say about all these things, I'll just kind of give you this thing of insight of how it is kind of worked out. Now, if you were to kind of look at it, biocircular, you are looking at anything waste in origin, let's say tall oil, UCO, which is used cooking oil, tallow, technical oils, forest residues, rice husk, straw. Everything can be converted into materials which can have a fossil fuel index, which can replace a fossil fuel or which can replace a polymer. Now that's wherein this comes into picture. So in terms of circularity, you have mixed plastics, end of life tires, waste textiles, CO2 which is captured. All this can be converted into products which are either a polymer or it can be a fuel. Now that's wherein it becomes important that it's not that it needs to be 100%. It can be also a part of the fuel usage can come in from these particular products. Now, this is how the attribution of the green, the bio or the circular economy is kind of working. All the major now, if you were to kind of look at all the major oil companies, they are getting investing on bioenergy producers. The recent the latest news happens to be Reliance investing 65,000 crores in Andhra for compressed biogas services. So, wherein instead of an oil company, more and more companies are kind of looking at the bio as or the circularity model to kind of ensure that the products which are coming onto the market are sustainable. So with this, I kind of end my brief note with respect to giving an oversight on the standards and with respect to the need of standards and how the industry is kind of moving with respect to bio as well as circular economy. Thank you. Thank you all. I'll be happy to take in questions if it's now or later after the conclusion of all the presentations.
We can take one or two questions now, immediately after the session. Rest of it we can take later, I think, Ramkumar sir.
Yes, madam.
You could see the questions in the chat box.
Yeah.
Ramkumar,
Uh,
sir,
Arun Gupta has asked about one question, Bobby.
some,
Yeah.
Please
Yeah.
share what are the 3 sustainability
something in
standards.
the chat box, please look at it. One or
Yeah.
two we can take now, rest we can do after the sessions.
Yes, yes, Mr. Arun. So in terms of these are not ISO standards. These are predominantly independent standards. ISO standards comes only in the ISO 1425 or the product labeling, wherein you can kind of offer 1467 when you have to have the product carbon footprints. Remaining ISCC and RSB happens to be European standards, which are being accepted by most of the producers there. So most of the consumers in those markets are demanding for it, and there is also a market regulation that you need to be certified to these standards. These are predominantly European based standards, and currently in India it's only the 1464 and 14025, which is the product labeling in picture.
We do have Indian standards.
We do not have an Indian standard currently available, but there are even with the new biofuel standard coming up, there are government has put in initiatives for 10 different standards under BIS to be kind of replicated, which can be quantified under any of these particular mechanisms.
Any product certification schemes actually under this bio programs? There are, yes, these are some of this maybe system certifications.
So
Any
all these
product
are
certificate?
all these are the facility certifications and the products which come out from it. So what happens is that you have the facility certified and the products which are going to be certified, because it needs to specify the products which are coming out from these particular entities. So the end product which you say, let's say it's biogas, or let's say it's a particular circular plastic, this will have a weightage which goes in, because it's more of the mass balance methodology, wherein the product which comes in and the feedstock which comes in and the product which goes out has to be validated, and that is where the claims comes in for the product.
So when you say when an organization is certified, you're certifying the products as well as the enterprise management
So
system.
it's not the organization, it's the facility which is manufacturing the entire thing.
Okay, it is only the manufacturing facility which gets certified.
Absolutely.
And the products also carry the
Weightage.
certification label.
Yes.
On the labeling.
Yes.
Okay. Because we're also seeing some QCOs coming across various sectors in the country in the quality control orders. So there is a specific focus on the product certification actually. That is why we just wanted to understand, because the green claims are more to do with the products.
Absolutely, because that's wherein the model comes in from the farm to gate. So wherein it starts from, because it can be a waste source, it can be a bio product which comes in, or agri product which comes in, or agri residue which comes in. So it needs to clearly be defined that what is the feedstock, whether it meets the classification before it can kind of take the subsequent product claim with respect to the end product which is being manufactured.
Now, how about the supply chain? Sorry, sir.
All the supply entities has to be mapped under it. So
that's what it is.
So I think it is both tier 1 and tier 2 suppliers. Am I right, Bobby?
So it's starting from the farmer, it's starting from the trader. All of them needs to be in this particular banquet. So it's not that I being a producer can take this claim. So unless it comes in, so let's say that me as a farmer, I need to ensure that the produce going out has to be meeting the claim. If the trader buys in, the entire chain of custody has to be kind of validated.
The reason why it's specific. Yeah, sorry.
The point of origin is very important.
The reason why we are asking this question is when we are talking about supply chain compliances on, especially on the ESG reporting and all that. So there is a lot of protest by the industry corridors saying that we can only submit compliance about our finished product. We cannot ensure the compliance by our supply chain. Now, this is actually a big issue now. So asking, pressurizing the regulators to dealing the supply chain compliance. So that is a reason why I'm asking this question.
Probably that can be covered by Saif in his next presentation, because he will be able to
Okay.
throw more light into it.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bobby, for the wonderful presentation and providing an insight into the importance of standards in bioeconomy. And also you have highlighted upon the difference between the linear model and the circularity model, which hitherto the importance is literally it is gaining now. And a lot of industries have started realizing about the circularity model, and because of the uh, regulatory bodies also putting pressure on industries to go in on a circularity model, I think the momentum is picking up in India. So thank you very much for giving that wonderful insight. Now let me introduce Mr. Saif Ahmad, who is here as one of the panel speaker. So a brief introduction about Mr. Saif. Uh, Mr. Saif Ahmad is a certified lead and internal auditor in ISO 45001, 2018 and ACI 8000 with nearly 17 years of experience in environmental health and safety management across fixed facilities projects. And currently he is leading the EHS operations in India as a country head for solar Y&M at Berkeley Energy Commercial Industrial Solutions. In short, it is called as BASIS. And they are having a lot of it's a multinational company based at Singapore, operating in Southeast Asia and Asian countries. And previously he was leading the large scale projects like 300 megawatt hybrid wind and solar projects at Adani Green Energy, and also GE T&D India overseeing the fixed facilities. And he has been instrumental in developing and implementing various EHS frameworks for global projects with GE, Alstom, and SEPCO, and also was a project EHS manager for Hulu Terengganu Hydro project in Malaysia and PL T&D sites in Indonesia, contributing to global safety standards and risk management practices. And he is a trained person from Debosch, a lead auditor in ISO 45001 OHS risk management system, SCI 8000, and he has many accomplishments to his credit. He has been awarded Business Impact Awards at GE for critical EHS solutions, and also a safe completion of projects such as URT DSM Power Grid and DLR sensor at Varda Yavatmal Power Project 400 kV project. So now I call upon Mr. Saif Ahmad to share his views on the industrial experience. He is representing the industry here. Normally in all our webinars, our audience would have been very familiar that we call from a speaker from a certifying body, a speaker from an industry, and also a speaker from an academia. So today we have all the combination today for this webinar, and I'm really very happy to invite Mr. Saif Ahmad to present his views as an industry person about the role of the industries in bioeconomy, particularly biofuels, where in which their company basis is really contributing a lot in this particular domain. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ramkumar, for these kind words. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Bobby. So, good morning, all participants and esteemed speaker here. My name is Saif Ahmed, and all the introduction is already being given by Mr. Ramkumar. So, without wasting time, I should move up. So, okay, I'm currently with BECIS, and this stands for Berkeley Energy Commercial Industrial Solution. This is a multinational company, I would say. Headquarters are in Singapore, and we are operating in 8 countries. Among those 8 countries, 2 large countries like China and India. So the basic thing behind all these operations are we are in renewable sector. And as correctly mentioned by Mr. Ramkumar, that this is about a biomass fuel, what we are going to use, or maybe in coming future, this will be the preferred energy solution due to various environmental benefits, economical benefits, and social benefits, which are abided with these fuels. So why move towards bioenergy? This is very important to understand, and what benefits it is bringing in with the operation, what cost impacts, because ma'am is from financial background. So these things are also very important for the company or an organization to understand that they should not go beyond the conventional fuel. So let me focus on some key points here in this forum. Surely there are environmental benefits, what it is bringing in when we are going for biomass fuel, as they are renewable and sustainable. This is the major thing. Conventional fuels are not sustainable. It can be completely over at certain period of time, whether it is coal or petroleum products. So biomass fuel is completely renewable and sustainable. It is having various environmental positive effect, that it is generating less carbon than any other conventional fuel. The biodiversity, it helps in biodiversity conversion. The waste is drastically reduced by using biomass fuel, and the waste what we produce from using these type of fuel is not at all harmful to the environment. When I say environment, it is not your environment or my environment, environment as a whole, which contains water, air, soil, each and everything. So this is something when we put these waste in some of the farms, even we tried it. So it is very much helpful, and it can be used as a fertilizer also. It can be used as refilling agents also. It can be used, like recently Mr. Ramkumar has visited to some of the facilities of BCIS in Indonesia. We are supplying to some brick makers also. So they are manufacturing bricks out of these type of wastage, what we are supplying to them. And air quality surely will be improved by using biomass fuel, because these are reducing PM value, and the carbon contents what we are emitting into the air. So these are few environmental benefits. Few sustainable benefits also I would like to put here, like rural development. It is helping in mitigation of climate change, and waste to energy conversion is also there. So agro waste or forest waste, what we are using right now as a biomass fuel, and these wastes are something from which we are generating energy, and that energy is, or can be used, or can be utilized by some of the major industries. So on this model we are working. Just to brief all the participants here, that by using these things, actually we are keeping record of our CO2 emission also. So if we are going to use conventional fuel, so the ratio is for uh, approx 1 ton CO2 we can emit by using 505 kg of kilogram, approximate value this one is. And here, by using this from January to October 24, we have a data that we avoided CO2 emission nearly 29,450 ton. So we saved 14,872 ton of fossil fuel. And this is a very significant data. Each year we are calculating all these data, and these are being furnished in our newsletters also, and to the investors also. So these are something which is very important. Some impactful
Safe,
things
sir.
also there. Hello.
Sorry to interrupt. Do you have any presentation?
Not a presentation, but I have a write-up actually.
Okay.
So,
Okay, carry on, sir. Thank you.
yes, yes. Some impact over the society also, like monetary benefit, health and safety benefits. So by using these agro waste, we are giving a direct benefit to local people who are in the periphery. They are getting a good amount of income by supplying those fuels to us. And to make sure these are sustainable, the fuel sourcing is sustainable, we hired SCS Global and SCS Global helped us to develop one sustainable certification. We call it BRSC internally, sustainable certification, under which they are going and verifying the supply, the fuel supply. We call it tier 1 and tier 2. Recently, Mr. Ram Kumar has mentioned it. So tier 1 is a supplier and vendor. Tier 2 is from where it gets generated. So these things are very well monitored, very well checked, verified, whether we can be able to receive all those biomass fuel throughout the period. Because again, business is also integrated in this, and we have set up huge plants, and those plants definitely need fuel for their production of energy. So in that case, we are getting those fuel, and whether the supplier can regularly supply it to us and it is sustainable or not. So if it is sustainable, then only our business can sustain. So vice versa, it is good for both of the parties. So this is some benefit to the society. Few benefits in health and safety, that by using these biomass fuel, the PM value is reduced, nitrogen oxide, sulfur dioxide. So basically, it is an improvement in air quality, which is helping in developing of community health. And fire risk reduction is also there, because when any conventional fuel, if you are storing it inside the plant, there is a huge risk of fire. And if you are operating any plant near to the locality, near to the villages, near to some area where humans are residing, so that's a huge risk. Many of the cases we regularly, I mean, in the news, like in Ludhiana, like in Jalandhar, a few years back in Gopalganj, Bihar. So many newses are there. So by these fuel, fire risk is also very much reduced if we are having certain mitigation plan on place. Biodiversity benefits, as I earlier mentioned. So this is something, again, with that, the deforestation, land degradation, which is getting minimized by using these biomass fuels. And all the agriculture waste which the plants and the companies are utilizing to convert it into the energy. So we call it waste to energy method, basically. So these are some important or impactful point which I want to present here, which I have presented right now. Thank you very much, Mr. Ram Kumar and whole panel. If someone want to ask, please welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Saif. There is one question: does Government of India has released any rules for governing the biofuels or related things?
So not yet. I think Bobby also can put some light on it. Not yet completely. So that's why the companies are a little bit progressive in it, and we are stepping ahead, and we are hiring. I mean, from the company side, I'm saying this. We are hiring consultant to develop some framework with the experience, with the international laws are there. So with all those things, and requirement of ESG is also there. So with all those requirements, some auditing method, certification method are being developed, and multinational companies are following it.
Okay.
I just would like to just contribute to that. I will share the Bio E3 policy announced by the Government of India just about 2 months ago. I will share the link here. The policy, again, there are specific schemes they have announced for establishing of biomanufacturing hubs and things like that. So even your bioenergies, biofuel, everything is part of that. Please look at that document and the recent document also, which they have announced. I will share the links. Maybe that is just a beginning. From their policies, again, they'll start drafting specific rules and all those things. And some budgetary allocations, grants and funds for all these things. So I will share those links. I just wanted to mention that. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Saif.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, because the industrial experience definitely it is really helpful for the audience to know about how you are sourcing the biofuels and in what way it is more advantageous. You have been mentioning that the conventional fuel consumption has drastically reduced because of the usage of biofuels, and also how it helps in biodiversity. And with respect to fire safety, also you have highlighted how it is more safer than the conventional fossil fuels. So really thankful to you for uh, accepting our invite and presenting to our audience about the industrial experience on biofuels on bioeconomy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. But and one thing I would like to say here that there is long way to go in this particularly because and at many of the areas there are too much of biomass fuel is available, but awareness is not. So that is basically a big challenge when you are operating in India. Because if we compare Thailand again with India, that's a small country, but they are very much aware about these things. Thailand and Vietnam, particularly. So surely, with the help of these webinars and a lot many discussions, and as ma'am has just mentioned about that policy, at 1 month back, government has designed some policy, drafted it, and put it in order. Once there will be some regulatory bodies or regularization, then surely that will be help to the industries. Thank you.
Yeah. I think we have initiated. Government of India has come out with a policy, and definitely I think regulatory bodies also will be implementing and these regulations on the industries. As you are rightly saying, the awareness level is low, and we are organization like us, we are creating awareness to all the industrial sector, different domain sectors, and CCC has been playing a human role in this for the past from the day of inception. We are into this only, creating a lot of awareness about all these things. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for
Thank you very
joining
much.
us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
So now I call upon Dr. Vidya Niranjan, who is with us from the Academia. She is representing the Academia here, and I'll just share this. Yeah, I think, is it visible? Yeah. So she is a leading scientist and academic researcher in computational biology with a research background, and she is a professor and head of the Department of Adi College of Engineering, Bengaluru. And she is having a field of expertise in computational biology, which is a very emerging subject which has been there in our country for long, but the importance is being realized now of late. And she is coming with an experience of 30 plus years in research, both basic and applied research, and as a research focus on big data, genome analysis, automation, drug discovery, and our favorite subject is bioinformatics and bioinformatics tools and database development. And she has published more than 155 research articles and H index of 19. And research, she has got research funding to the tune of 4.34 crores in Indian rupees from government agencies and pharmaceutical companies. That's really a very big contribution what she has been doing in this particular domain. I think hats off to her for being instrumental in getting the funds. That is very important for any research projects to really culminate into the desirable outcome or the result. And currently, she is a participant in NVIDIA Inception program. She is an AI-based drug discovery, which she is going to present, in fact, about the need of a standard development in the field of this AI tool. And also, she is a lead investigator on a quantum computing and protein folding project, which is funded by part of the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, IT, and in collaboration with Amazon AWS. And now I call upon Dr. Vidya Niranjan. I'm very happy to invite her for delivering her thought process on bioeconomy in the field of bioinformatics and also AI-based drug discovery, and the importance of a standard and a standard evolution in this particular field. Over to you, Dr. Vidya.
Thank you, Ram, for introducing me. I'm really privileged to be here. as you say, we have all the three are diverse. This is going to be a different because we have from industry, from certification, as well as from academia. And I also see Bobby, who addressed, was slightly in more into the certification standards are much more stable there. Whereas safe also where there is a start, inception has already started. There is a E3 policy has been done in biomanufacturing, and I am going to represent a domain where nothing has started, where we are going to have a start of inception is going to start there. So I think the diversity is with Bobby, Saif, and Vidya also there. So I think it's really something which has been there for all the things. And
No, that's the uniqueness of CCC.
oh, that's and thank you so much, CC.
We want to get the views of all the domain.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. And let me share my presentation. And also I want to share that yesterday there was, I hope you can see my presentation.
Not yet.
Yeah, 1 second.
Do you have the share option?
Yeah, I have it. I have it.
Yeah,
Your screen is not visible.
it's coming now.
How about others?
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
visible.
Right.
It's visible
slowly,
now. Go to the
yeah,
full
thank
view.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, now
Yes,
it's
clear. Perfect. Perfect.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I am representing computational biology or bioinformatics, where this is a very important field which is slowly getting into the world. Like as I told you, even the Nobel Prize this time was given for both in chemistry as well as in physics for computational biology. This shows that how important is computational biology for the bioeconomy. Bioinformatics is also an optimized method. So in other fields, you are going to talk about how to optimize and how to make the waste back into that. How do you take the resources back and all? But this is something which I will tell you, it is much more ahead of all these things, because here you, with the help of computers, you are going to optimize the time, reagents, resources, and definitely the waste, and everything is going to be optimized by this particular domain, where everything will have a simulation before it goes to the lab. So we will know that how exactly everything is going to happen. For example, if you are going to have a drug, it is before, it is going to take around 10 years for you to do the lab work for before having a drug in the market, because you need to have a lot of high throughput screening where you'll be using a lot of chemicals, time, resource. But the bioinformatics is where everything will go into the computers. Depending, there will be all the simulations virtually will be done in the system, and we are going to give you the best 10 hits that is going to definitely. I think the COVID, we came out of this COVID only because of bioinformatics, because of the repurposing of the drug, which was done immediately using bioinformatics tools, and also the biomarkers or the diagnostics where so 70% were done, optimized and put on time because of bioinformatics. So thanks to COVID, in one way, at least I know anything that is in nature, when there is a disaster, there is always some learning from that. Is one of the learning, or one, I can say 1-2% of the learning is to use computational tools for both optimization of time, resources, and eventually the waste. So sustainability is much more when you use bioinformatics. So this is such a powerful tool which was not being taken till now, and now I think it's high time for all the people to start. And I already told that it has been started. So when there is a start, there must be a quality. When there is, and we need to make sure that this particular domain has got all the so it should have all the standards to be much more certified, so that the industry and also I've told you that if at all you have been in a private university, you have to terribly prove yourself, and that's good. Like we start publishing more papers in Nature, PLOS One, which is going to be high and gain attention with international, so that we started. Why should anybody of very good caliber should have such a long battle? So this quality assurance, if they can give some certification either for the facility or for the expertise a person has, this will enable them to market themselves fast, and in fact it will give a much more contribution to the society. So this is what is my debate here, to start the quality assurance for computational biology. And our lab, we also have a good panel of advisors from CDAC Pune. As you know that it is very important to have a very good computational resources. So these are some of the parameters which should be taken, like the resource, what is the resource a bioinformatics facility has. And we also have a vice chancellor from GKVK as one of the advisory board, where whatever we do at the prediction level, how exactly it is being validated in the agriculture fields. And we also have Dr. Jitendra, who is the managing director of BIRAC, who is supporting us so much and also promoting the bioinformatics, so that every project in India can have an optimization. And so these are our panel of advisors for our Center of Excellence. And we also now, the government has started recognizing the bioinformaticians. So ministry is getting awarded, and also you all know about the Padmanabhan sir. He also awarded about how my contributions towards the startup in Karnataka government has been done. So I think the recognitions are slowly starting. And for the last 10 years, we have a huge fundings from all ICMR, from DBT, DST, SERB, and everywhere. And this is something where we, all the research that has been done, and we also have a very good pharmaceutical companies who gives a lot of fundings, and how this is going. Recently, we had with California companies, and we have 2 companies from California who has come and started giving collab. So this all just to know that the definitely the domain is going to flourish, and there are many people like me who wants to go up in a large scale and optimize the resource, and have a sustainable model for bioeconomy. And so this is something which we want to know. This I want to tell that these are the things that is very important. So whenever any quality resources and human resources expertise and the software resources any lab is having has to be monitored. And one very important in bioinformatics is there is a huge change in the technology, and how our lab also to adapt. So this is also one of the things. Recently, before we had with high performance computing, then we went to GPU, and then we started with AI/ML, and that's how the progression of drug discovery has become very easy, and we have got good amount of validations that has been done using things. So this is one part of it. The other part of it, I want to tell you what all the drawbacks that this bioinformatics have, and how this has to be taken up. So as you all know that we adapt to technology, and we apply for genomics, drug discovery and diagnostics for that, and we have very good publications. And so we have certain expertise in this to comment about what is the problem that it is facing. And also, you know that the rise of computational biology is now in Nature and Science. We have before we have a standalone. Last week, my Nature paper got accepted, which is completely into computational biology, which was not that decade or 2 decades before, where people were not recognizing this. So there is improvement at the international level also for this computational biology. And if you consider, it's a very the main problem why this bioinformatics was not taken much is a person who just to take up. See, if a person who goes to an Microsoft Excel and start doing some he cannot be considered as a software engineer. But that's what is a problem with bioinformatics. The expertise and the quality and the resources and the ecosystem has to be properly standardized for that. So this is also called as bioinformatics, and there are people who develop a very AlphaFold, which was developed by Google, which got Nobel Prize, is also bioinformatics. Where is the standard? What is that any person who has to either do outsourcing or a product or use it for a research for optimization, where is the standard to tell that these people are a person who can optimize the research or the end product or that? So there is a huge gap here, and so that is where the quality standards has to come, where everybody, the users, has to convert themselves into developers. And Microsoft Excel person who starts, a biology person who just do blast in bioinformatics and tell them that he's a bioinformatician, should go to the level that why should he use blast and how he is optimizing some of the protein interaction in the lab, so that is where I think standardization is very important. One is to know, for any international players to know that this is a certified bioinformatician and we can go to him or her for an outsourcing or to develop a product or for research. So this is something, it is, I think, need of the heart to have this standardization or to have the certification in place. And if you see the current challenges that we are going to have, what happens, there's a lot of online resources that has been given by anybody can give an online resource. So that's how now it is happening. So there will be 4 to 5 different tools available for the same. If we want to have some particular work that has to be done, there will be suppose, for example, everybody knows about the ANOVA test, and if you see that different tools give different results, and this itself is becoming a big black mark for bioinformatics. Should we use it? And that's how many of the very intellect scientists take a back seat, because they are so this is one of the major noise that is happening in bioinformatics, which has to be also taken care. So why standard is very essential is ensures reproducibility and confidence in research findings, build trust amongst researchers, developers, and the public, minimize the risk of scientific and ethical missteps. And tool validation, we have to have an established benchmark of accuracy. There must be a transparency and ethical guidelines, either in terms of both in terms of the data as well as the protocols or the tools that has been developed. So what needs to be done is tools and pipelines need to be standardized. It has to be certified so that people use it, and regularly reviewed by national and international board of scientists and researchers is something which is very, very important in different environment. And these standards can be sort of put that. So for tool development, also there should be some quality assurance protocols like rigorous testing. So whenever a patch that comes from Microsoft or Google, you know how much rigorous testing that has been done for only search engine, which is a word thing. Now imagine in biotechnology, where it is more very important because it is more on the life sciences. So how important for us to have these rigorous testings and version controls and performance. It's very, very important for the critical assessment of structure. So what happened very recently, I don't say initiation has started, but at the international level, where the Google and many of the Yahoo and many of the companies where they have started this life science or bioinformatics tools, they had this critical assessment of structure prediction, which is only for protein structure prediction, has started. And this time, I think MuleSoft has taken up the prize that their tools are much more, because we need to find out these tools, how accurate the prediction. I don't say there must be 100% prediction and then I think the labs will go out of the things, but we need to have at least 90% predictions. And what is its reproducibility, how exactly it can work on multiple data sets, multiple conditions. All these has to be taken care before there must be and it is not that we can't stop people publishing their tools, but we can always give the standards to them so that people who want a standard research or something can use that. So that is my argument here. If you see the test case in dimensionality reduction, PCA is being used everywhere. But if you see different PCA tools have got different results. Why it is like that? Why? How do you take this for further validations? And again, in spite of doing this, I think a biologist will again go for the complete, again go for 10 years of discovery. So if you see, if there is an outbreak, there is no much time for 10 years for any scientist to come to have a discovery mode and then get the things. By the time the world would have sort of vanished. So I think in the life sciences, it's very, very important to have such things in place. So proposed solution is moving towards trusted computational biology tools. So either we can have some ISO certification, something like that, to have biodata ethical standards, tools, predictions, and how exactly this is going to happen. So this is a very simple things which I have started and I thought it can provoke some of the biologists or bio industries to not to ignore bioinformatics because of some of the errors, the standards some people are do, but definitely take it up with the standards would be optimal solutions for the discovery mode. I think I stop here and I'm okay for the questions.
Thank you very much. That was a wonderful insight into computational biology. I think which is a very relatively new subject for a person like me. As you are rightly saying, we have been considering from a layman point of view everything as bioinformatics. You have really highlighted the use between a user role and a developer role. That's really a very good, fantastic thing that what you have said, and the need for standards with respect to the quality of tools being used. I think that's a real sensitive area where I think in agriculture and also in health sector, it will play a major role. That is standardization of quality assurance with respect to certifying the tools which is being used. Really, I think that's a computational biology is already played a major role in COVID-19 and is playing a major role. There is a dire need for certification that we have highlighted. Really, it's a wonderful thing that really it's a good insight for all of us here who are here. And madam, any questions, ma'am?
I just wanted to ask only one question. Recently, of late, I myself am getting a lot of requests from the students who are pursuing medicine, MBBS. Now, this is included into because there is a lot of emphasis on medical research now as per the new NMC regulations. So almost all medical students are supposed to look at this bioinformatics very closely. Actually, I was also getting requests from some of the students who are doing medicine in PSG Coimbatore, asking me for connecting them to some hubs only in Bangalore. They wanted only in Bangalore. So I wanted to know, because that's a very nice development which was not there all these years ago. See, to the extent, because at the end of the day, as practitioners, users of medicine, their confidence in all this should be very high. They are also totally disconnected. So when they don't understand, they don't trust it. That is
Yes.
how. So I just wanted you to touch upon this kind of a confluence which is needed. And I fully agree that standards are needed because as users, I find them always asking for standards. So when the standards are not there, reference standards, their confidence is very less. And that is the reason. See, basically, regulations, everything, before there are standards, the regulations are being developed. The regulations are coming first and then the standards are getting developed later. That is also a challenge we are seeing.
Correct.
So they need to have some recommended frameworks for this kind of standards. It becomes a culture, people start using it. Then you introduce regulatory framework, they find the adaptation. Medical devices rules, regulations are introduced after COVID, 4 years, 100% regulations. Still the standards are not fully developed. So this is where the challenge is. So I wanted you to touch upon your experience on the medical healthcare services side. How is this being looked at now?
Yeah, I actually I am collaborated with RV Aster where
Okay.
many of the they have some data for either analysis, clinical trials data to get analyzed, or some sort of data. But again, I felt that the doctors are very busy with outpatient, and they have less or no time to get connected to bioinformatician. But I have to thank one of the Sunil Ishwar, one of him. He's a very renowned IV specialist in Bangalore. But he spent some time. I'll be very flexible with him to start with him to, even if he's in late night, I'll talk to him and do it. And we have come up with PCOS. He says a very rare thing that is needed, PCOS, but the data is very important, because what he says is there is a huge difference in diagnosis with different patients. So he says we need to take up the data and analyze, and I have analyzed for him, and we had a publication. And then this is something where very few doctors, they don't have time, unless it becomes a mandatory nowadays for the medical college to introduce this as a subject and then do. So the doctors are very few, or to get into bioinformatics. But it is very much after doing this, he had an idea, and he has started his own clinic now, where he says that there is a diagnosis methods of, from the data analysis, from the prediction, becomes easier for him. So how many people like Sunil Ishwar doctors want to do? But and also I was a part of this Merck certification program, where I took some of the doctors, dental college doctors and other doctors who came for Merck certification program. We had publication with them. We had such a nice, they are open, but I think it has to be tapped at the college level, as you say. But
It is not. Yeah,
right.
sorry.
So I think it is very, very important, and we do some training for these doctors, not as training, we do as a project based training. So we take a project for them, and we work with them. We give them the bioinformatics expertise, they give the medical expertise, a sort of, we collaborate and then get into it. So training them like a full day, developing the tools and training them the tools, is neither useful for them nor for us. I think a project based training approach is what is required for this medical professionals.
They have that only. See, earlier, you're absolutely right. Very few doctors have passion. They have that passion for that. But now it is introduced into the curriculum just to make them understand. And what they are asking is only project-based guidance and support. So that linkage, you see, many things are introduced in the curriculum now, even the research or whatever it is, even the standards. They're not exposed to all this. So when they get into practice, they don't appreciate all this.
Yes.
Because they're not aware of all this. So that is why I just wanted to see so many things happening, and still this is bioinformatics as a career option. Lot of awareness is needed even to the biotech students. Biotech
Yes.
students are also not interested, right?
That is because their faculties have no
Absolutely.
commitment to the bioinformatics.
Absolutely. And that is the last choice, because nothing else is available, then they're all interested. So something needs to be done, because
And
they do have it. But we are also telling them that the future is data sciences. You're getting into that space. So even in your core, you need to understand a bit of this informatics, data sciences, because you're absolutely right. The faculty needs to bring this focus.
yes.
But global markets recognize this so much, and in the
So
Indian
much.
context,
That's
it is.
why I have to struggle a lot night and day to prove myself that I can get a better funding than a professor at IIC.
No,
Then
simple.
me and my bioinformatics is recognized by my college.
Absolutely. A reason is, even in the Global Bio India that I'm attending for the last 4 years, there are no sessions on bioservices.
Yes.
I keep meeting all, Dr. Jitendra and all of them. So even I keep raising the same questions. Even Dr. Manish Dhawan also, he keeps saying that, please focus on bioservices. Nobody's addressing bioservices, and there's a lot of potential in the country.
Correct.
Anyhow, it's a very enlightening session today, even for me personally. Thank you.
New. It's a new.
Thank you, Dr. Vidya Niranjan. Thank you. So we have come to the concluding part of this today's session, forenoon session. Afternoon also, post lunch, we have a session on bioeconomy, same with respect to biomedical, biopharma, and bioservices. Please join us for the post-lunch session, and our interesting speakers are there to address that session also. So with that note, let me thank every one of you who have attended this webinar, and special thanks to Bobby, Saif and Vidya for having graced this occasion by delivering their thought process and sharing their insights into different topics. We are able to get it today from a certifying body point of view, from an industry point of view, and also from academia. And really, we are thankful to all of you. On wholeheartedly, I thank you on behalf of CCC and also our All India body MSCC, and from all our members of CCC. To all the audience, I thank on behalf of CCC for joining this webinar and raising very valid questions. And this video of this entire session recording will be available in our YouTube. And it's a very interesting thing to note that day by day we are getting more viewers on our YouTube channel, and a lot of people, very different domain people, are acknowledging and giving a lot of positive feedback, which gives us really the more moral booster and encouragement for us to organize such more sessions. Particularly CCC is involved in knowledge sharing, and we believe that knowledge sharing alone will help us in development and also our enhancement of our own current level to a higher level. So with that note, thank you very much, and thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ramkumar.
Just
Yeah,
wanted to
ma'am.
add one line. This is a 5-year-old, less than 5-year-old organization operationally. By the time we became operational, COVID happened. Okay, still we did this only website, which is we are actually marching towards 5 lakh views. And it's purely organic, no promotion, no social media. It's at about 4,80,000 plus viewers. And this is how it is. For us personally, it is a key milestone because people come and visit the website for the program updates on standards, certifications, and regulations. We invite even certification bodies, any good training programs you're organizing, please share it with Ramkumar sir. The website will upload it. Interested one from the industry always look at it. We will be compiling a newsletter. There are about 13 sessions we have. After completing all this, key takeaways from each session will be compiled by the session host. We will completely release a newsletter, which may be even 100 pages, fine, it's a digital one. We are going to send it to everybody, and we do have a very strong database of the association, viewers who have been visiting for the last 5 years. So many programs we did. I'm sure we would have lost the count. Maybe would have crossed about 300 programs, also 300, 400, because we have lost the count actually. This information will be shared with everybody, and we don't charge a single pie from anybody. We don't. In fact, we invest a lot of money into all these efforts. So it is our, we are here to spread this knowledge about the standard certifications and regulations to the industry and to various other stakeholders. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
And Rama ma'am has been the beacon light for all of us in leading all these initiatives. In fact, she won't keep quiet and make us all in a very.
Everybody. So, no, I know, I agree how tough it is. Everybody is busy with their own schedules, but there's still you're marking that little space to contribute towards all this. Otherwise, we would not have reached this level and we would not have come this far. That's all it is. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Ramkumar,
Thank you all.
Vidya,
Thank you.
Bobby.
Yeah,
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Saif, Ram, and ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.